Hello everyone, watch this review here with a look at the DC Universe Classics Wave 18 Toyman. Now, Wave 18, of course, is, sort of a challenge of the Super Friends themed wave, and this is the look that the character had in that show. By the way, I best remember the Toyman from the parody commercial that ran during the 90s, where they had the Legion of Doom all standing around, and Brainiac demands pants, and Solomon Grundy chimes in, Solomon Grundy wants pants too. And then Toyman goes, of course, this wasn't actually an order, I demand more toys. And actually, speaking of toys, I've been having so many hauls lately that, I could literally do a haul video every day and, not cover everything. So, at least for this month, I will be tossing in just a generic haul at the end of a lot of my reviews. Now, if you're looking at this bio here, this is technically wrong. Given that this is based on the look from the Challenge of the Super Friends, that was actually the second Toyman, somebody named Jack Nimble or something, I believe, who temporarily replaced the Winslow shot Toyman. Let me see if that's... Yeah, this is just the Winslow shot bio, which, is the first Toyman. There have been 3 of them. Third one was a kid inventor or something, I think. There have been 4. I can't remember anymore. But all you need to know is this is the guy who briefly replaced Winslow Shot and then was killed by the original at some point. Although, the bio makes it out to seem like that other guy was never there. But hey, whatever. Hold on a second, let's get him out of the box. Toyman comes with the right arm of Apache Chief, which actually looks disappointingly small. It also bears a somewhat heavy resemblance to the arm used for Bane. I'm wondering if they just retooled it or something. And I'm really hoping Apache Chief isn't this size, because that'd be kind of tiny for the character. Also, for whatever reason, I have these strange markings on the arm here. I don't know. Otherwise, in terms of toys, Toyman comes with the little top here with what looks to be a wick here, so I assume it probably explodes or something. And then he has this little yo-yo, which I don't know if it can function as a normal yo-yo, because I've never been able to use a yo-yo, but, kind of neat. The only downside is the fact that you can't leave it in a sort of rolled up state. Unless, I don't know, maybe you could tape the end or something. That's kind of cool. I am just mildly disappointed by the fact that he didn't come with more toys. I mean, hell, I demand more toys. But, I guess you can't always get what you want or demand. The one nice thing, though, is these are completely new accessories, although Bronze Tiger completely blows them out of the water in the accessory department. Bronze Tiger's stuff's all just reissues. These, again, completely new, completely character-specific. Won't ever see them again, probably, unless they include them with the Joker or something at some point. Which they might. Now, as for Toyman himself, because, we actually have to talk about this guy at some point, technically he's the subject of the review. When I first saw news of the wave and stuff, I, wasn't considering picking him up. And that's mostly because, in the meantime, I did pick up another Toyman to sort of bulk out the whole Legion of Doom lineup. And that's the very awesome DC Direct Justice line Toyman. By the way, doesn't stand so well. Now, this figure, which also is based on the look from the Challenge of the Super Friends, which in turn is based on the Jack Nimble version, is a mechanical mech that I believe was used by a Winslow Shot to menace Hawkman and Hawkgirl. And, it's just a really nice figure. I previously reviewed this, by the way. He's got all these little joints and stuff with a full range of motion, so, when this came along, I was like, I am, however, happy that I had the opportunity to pick him up. For one thing, this is the show-accurate colors and everything. This is just a sort of more toyish looking one. By the way, Jack Nimble really strikes me as being more of a fun Toyman, as opposed to that creepy bastard Winslow Shot. If you remember Winslow Shot, typically he's depicted as kidnapping people for various means. In the New Adventures of Superman, which, by the way, I hope they'll do a figure of that version, because he's like this short little midget that looks kind of like a doll or whatever. He kidnaps Lois to marry her and dresses her up as a doll and everything. But he's also kidnapped children and, is generally sort of a scarier guy as opposed to this, where, yes, he's trying to kill you with toys, but at the same time, there's an element of fun there. Because, he's not trying to just kidnap you. He's not snatching your people up. I should mention that Toyman kind of reuses the same taller body with the newer joints that we saw with SC Scarecrow as well as the Creeper. Of course, the sculpting's a bit different on these. Generally, he has some of the same downsides and everything where, the standing isn't as good with these taller figures for some reason. I just don't think it's got that good of a weight distribution and stuff. The other sort of major issue, which was the same problem with the Riddler as well, is that the character comes out looking too buff. I mean, he was especially scrawny in the cartoon and stuff, and he's got some fair muscle here. He's got a hell of a lot more definition than I do. Now, whereas it's a reuse of the sculpt and everything, I should point out that his little mantle here is a add-on. It's a soft rubbery plastic. Actually looks really nice too. It looks like it's almost leather between the color that they use for the wash in addition to the little detailing here, but the seams. It's pretty impressive work. The head sculpt also is really awesome. Look at that. The only sort of downside is they gave him this weird blue highlight for the top of the head, which is something they do on a lot of figures for the hair. I've never understood the practice, but hey, whatever. Otherwise, it's kind of interesting, but this is the first time I've ever seen these hands used on anything. I mean, if you compare him to the Creeper here, his fingers just look a little bit longer. Maybe it's just the angle or whatever, though. And, it's just sort of a really creepy looking hands, and that's a really awesome touch. Just for the whole weirdness of it. It seems like they really started doing some seriously different stuff towards the end of this line. Just technically speaking, the line is sort of ending at this point. At least in the traditional sense. He's definitely one of the nicer examples of, the whole potential that the DC Universe Classics line has had, and I guess will continue to have in the Infinite Earths offshoots, as well as just the All-Stars relaunch or whatever. I don't know. Otherwise, let me just give you a quick run through of articulation before I forget. By the way, he can remove the little yo-yo thing here. This one finger's stuck out a bit more just so it fits securely on it, and it doesn't dislodge like a lot of other stuff does. It's also kind of tricky to get on because you have to... Okay, correction, I think it's actually easier to go from the top than just kind of sort of squeeze it around that, but voila, the yo-yo's back in hand, which is probably how I'll leave the character. Gives him a bit more, well, I guess I'll say character again. It's kind of a redundant way of saying it. In terms of articulation, though, we have the sort of ball and socket here at the wrists, as with the Scarecrow and the Creeper, and a bunch of the other more recent ones. It's kind of weird, too, because he has more wrist on his hand than a lot of other characters do, so it's not... I don't know, I guess maybe it's not as unnatural as it looks, but still kind of creeps me out a little bit. Double joint here at the elbow, rotation bicep, ball jointed shoulder. Again, where you have these figures with kind of thinner arms, I always worry about snapping and stuff. Head, decent up and down motion, side to side. It looks like it really comes off the joint almost. Maybe it has the sort of bar back there like they do on some of the collecting connects. Tab/diaphragm crunch. Point of rotation at waist. Unlike some of the other characters that I've seen recently, this is the only rotation. You don't also rotate the belt, although the belt is a separate piece of plastic that's tossed on or something. Usual motion here at hip. Rotation at the thigh. Single joint knee. Not a lot of motion though. I didn't notice this up till now either. I don't know, maybe the joint needs to be broken in. Unlike Creeper though, or at least my Creeper, I'm not sure if they're all like this, he actually gets a little bit better motion here at the ankle. Turns up the forward and back. If you recall, the Creeper really didn't have any forward motion, which was kind of annoying. Or no, forward back. It's also kind of weird. I believe Scarecrow might have been the same. But I mean, they've definitely kind of fixed that for this. All in all, you know, he's a pretty solid figure. Although he has the same general tall look, and I imagine they probably did reuse at least some of the parts between him and the others. Again, doesn't stand very well for some reason. Might just be mine though. You know, they do look completely distinct while they're standing next to each other on shelf, just given the little additives on each, like the little fur things. And Sinestro Scarecrow, of course, has this whole trench coat going on. The other kind of neat thing is, this is actually just painted on, although from a distance it actually does look like he's got a vest or something. Which, you know, is kind of a really nice touch. Otherwise, I think I like this because it doesn't really make use of any shadowing or shading or anything. I mean, it does look like the color kind of changes a little bit in places, but I'm beginning to think that a lot of the sort of heavy fake shadowing that they use on some of the figures in the line is what's kind of bothering me about, you know, a few selections at any rate. I think Blue Lantern Flash for starters. I mean, yeah, definitely a pretty decent figure, and, you know, a really great one from this wave, which I may or may not complete, but up next, I guess, is the haul portion. And now, as promised, here's the haul portion of the video. As previously mentioned, Target has been running a half off on their DC figures this week. You know, some restrictions obviously, but picked up Toyman for $8, in addition to Bronze Tiger. By the way, I wasn't really planning on picking up that much from the Apache Chief wave, unless I could get it a bit cheaper, which I have been doing. Bronze Tiger in particular wasn't one that really thrilled me or anything, but, you know, this is a pretty cool looking logo, and I think I probably will like this figure. Of course, it's not so much in the case of El Dorado. I'm not sure if there's something technically wrong with this or not, but if you look at his face here, it just seems sunken in one side. So I'll probably be leaving him in pack, and if I find one that's in better condition in stores, I'll buy that, return this one on that receipt. Also, I'm not sure if it's the case with all of them or not, but, you know, the Apache Chief kind of pushes out the packaging on this. It looks like his foot's actually in the Apache Chief arm slot or whatever. Kind of weird. Kind of see that there. I guess it's just sort of a big collect and connect piece, or, you know, maybe things just slid around in package. Besides that, I also managed to snag Sky Shadow, probably one of my most eagerly anticipated Transformers Generations figures. I wasn't so much fond of the Thunderwing or whatever, you know, I didn't even bother picking him up, but when I saw this redeco, I just, you know, much better color scheme. It's got this really cool looking thing here. Had to have it, and now I do. And finally, I picked up Jurassic the Haunted for $10 from Walmart. I've been meaning to pick up this game for a while. Supposedly it's like a bargain title and everything, so I probably shouldn't expect too much, but hey, dinosaurs, shooting, should at least be better than the Turok for the PS3 where you're knifing velociraptors to death with one hit. Oh my god, that's awful. But yeah, until next time, folks.